The Ozunu clan, led by the ruthless Lord Ozunu, trains orphans from around the world to become the ultimate ninja assassins to offer assassin service to rich clients. The clan charges £100 worth of gold for their services and always kill any witnesses in the vicinity of their target. Years later, the movie begins in a Yakuza hangout. An obnoxious guy, who is the leader of the gang, is being tattooed in the traditional tapping manner by an older gentleman and giving him a hard time because he can't take the pain. Suddenly, a flunky runs in with a letter addressed to the leader. When the flunky opens the envelope on the leader's orders, black sand pours out. The tattoo artist freaks out at the sight. He says that the sand is a sign that they are coming, and he tells them about how he once witnessed an attack. To back up his story, he shows them the scar on his chest where they stabbed him. He only survived because his heart is on the wrong side, thanks to a rare birth defect. Everyone laughs at the tattoo artist, not believing his story for a second. It's not funny anymore. However, when the lights go out and the shurikens start flying, the unseen attacker takes out the whole gang in mere minutes and also takes out the gang leader by chopping off his hands and cutting off his head. The tattoo artist is the last man standing. Knowing that he's a loose end twice over, he accepts his death gracefully. Next, we move to the Europol headquarters in Berlin, where we meet the forensic researcher Mika and her field agent co-worker Ryan. Mika firmly believes that ninja exist, even though everyone thinks she's nuts. She knows they're responsible for tons of crimes, including the Yakuza massacre, because of the historical events, bank accounts, and trial records she's examined. She wants to stop them. Maslow is skeptical at first, but the more she talks, the more he begins to see her points. When they continue the conversation at lunch, Maslow announces that he's done some research of his own and has leads for them to follow. Still, he's reluctant to dig deeper into this because pretty much everyone who has ever attempted to go down this road has ended up dead or fired. He jokes that the only reason he's in is because Mika is so beautiful and attractive to him. She seems flustered by the compliment. Elsewhere in Berlin, we meet the ninja Raizo. He's looking for clues about his former clan. He's washing his clothes at a public laundromat when a young Asian woman asks him to help her fold a sheet. As he obliges her, he directly asks her which clan she's from. She pretends like she doesn't know what he's talking about before abruptly attacking him. That sheet becomes a shared weapon in their brief fight. Needless to say, the laundromat attendant finds the woman's dismembered body parts circling around in a washer. Back in his apartment, Raizo reminisces about his early life as he goes about checking his weapons, eating, and training. It begins with Ozunu, the head ninja of the clan, introducing a young Raizo to the other orphans/ninja disciples he's collected. He calls them his sons and daughters, and tells them to welcome their new brother Raizo. One of the ninja disciples takes an immediate interest in Raizo, a girl named Kiriko. Anyway, Raizo and Kiriko become friends of a sort. After one particularly bad training session, wherein Ozunu brutally slashes the soles of Raizo's feet for failing to keep his steps light and quiet, Kiriko secretly soothes his pain with a homemade ointment so he can sleep. We come back to the present, with adult Raizo lying in bed. The scars from that incident are prominently displayed on the soles of his bare feet. He is also staring at an expensive men's watch that has a cracked face. Mika goes to speak to the widow of a Russian intelligence agent named Sabatin. Sabatin wrote about the ninja and paid for it with his life. Mrs. Sabatin entrusts a box full of the documents and photos her husband had gathered to Mika because no one else has ever believed her husband's story. When Mika examines the contents at home that night, the most interesting item is a VHS tape with security footage of an unmasked Raizo fighting ninja. She is both frightened and intrigued. The next day, a government agent by the name of Zabransky comes to Mika's office at work. He interrogates her about Maslow, though he calls it a routine checkup. When he starts asking about their relationship and talking about Maslow's mentally taxing caseload, Mika hears the underlying threat loud and clear. They're being watched, and one wrong move could be the end of them both. But they already knew that. Mika and Maslow decide to keep investigating. When Mika gets home, she turns on every light in the place, though I'm not sure if that's to deflect a ninja attack or to detect a waiting government assassin. She settles in to read more of Sabatin's documents. Meanwhile, Raizo continues to sort through his memories. This time, he relives events from his early teens, like the time Ozunu put a hole in his gut to teach him how to conquer his pain, and the year he spent blindfolded to hone his other senses. The training is brutal and violent. Ozunu is giving teen Raizo the tools he needs to survive their profession. Even though Raizo excels under these harsh conditions, he's still basically a kid. Ozunu is a real piece of work. The main focus of Raizo's memories is his romance with Kiriko, though. She teaches him that, despite Ozunu's teachings, he's still a person. Raizo, however, realizes that Kiriko isn't cut out to be a ninja. During a practice battle, she refuses to cut her defeated opponent, which is their custom. For her insubordination, Ozunu cuts her across her cheek, a blow to her feminine vanity that negates the idea that women are truly equal since he never once cuts Raizo's face, and puts her in the box, a cage where Ozunu imprisons rule breakers without food or drink. Raizo repays her for her foot ointment by bringing her a single drop of water, the most he can risk. The next thing you know, Raizo catches Kiriko fleeing the camp one night. Obviously, she knows she's not cut out for this ninja life either. Raizo refuses to escape with her, even though she begs him to come. He's either too brainwashed to leave, too scared of what will happen if they get caught. Their hearts will be cut out. They share a goodbye kiss, and Kiriko climbs the wall to freedom. Present day, Mika walks through her parking garage to her car, likely heading to the Europol building. Maslow suddenly jumps out and grabs her arm, scaring the crap out of her. He's there to tell her that every major government agency is currently combing through the files in his office because of their ninja investigation. He gives her a gun and advises her to take off. She goes back upstairs to her apartment to pack. When she passes her desk, she notices one of the ninja's trademark letters lying on her briefcase. That definitely wasn't there before. Her hands are shaking as she opens the envelope and black sand pours out. Just as she turns to run, a knife comes at her face, but it stops short when another ninja uses his curved blade to pull it back. There are now two ninja fighting in Mika's house. They're fighting so fast that she can barely follow their movements with her flashlight, let alone hit either one of them when she fires off some shots from Maslow's gun. Eventually, one ninja prevails when he slams the blade end of the Kusarigama into the top of the other guy's head. Surprisingly, the surviving ninja makes no threatening moves towards Mika. Instead, he tells her that she's not safe and offers to help her. Mika agrees. The ninja then removes his mask, and she immediately recognizes him as the guy from the videotape. Raizo, of course, recognizes her because he was given her name and address by a source. He's surprised that she recognizes him, though. Before they can explore this further, the two are forced to rush off because the other ninja, who want revenge for their fallen comrade, are arriving. After Mika and Raizo take off, Takashi cues up his own memories of Kiriko's escape. He and the trainees, on Ozunu's orders, chase Kiriko through the woods. It doesn't take long for them to catch her. They're highly attuned to smells and sounds, which explains why Kiriko tried to use the rain and thunder to cover her tracks. Raizo later calls them wolves. When they bring Kiriko back to the camp, Ozunu lets Takashi kill Kiriko as a reward for his quick work. Takashi looks Raizo dead in the face as he drives a sword into her heart. Raizo's glare promises bloody revenge. While driving to wherever, Mika makes conversation with Raizo by sharing what she thinks she knows about the situation and peppering him with follow-up questions. She asks him to know why he saved her. This triggers yet another flashback. Raizo, now an older teen, goes on his first assassination mission. Ozunu gives him a little pep talk on the limo ride over and tells him to bring back the target's gold watch. Raizo finds the guy in the hotel bathroom and stabs him in the neck. Even with blood spurting everywhere, this 300-pound guy tosses Raizo around like a rag doll. Raizo stabs him in every vital artery he can reach until he loses his knife, and then he fights with his fists. The guy gives as good as he gets. It's almost too much for Raizo to handle. Finally, the blood loss catches up with the guy, and he begins to slow down. Raizo wins by repeatedly slamming his head into the lip of a urinal, which drives his nose into his brain. His white uniform soaked in blood, Raizo meets Ozunu on the hotel's rooftop. He looks haunted. He just stares at the gold watch whose face was cracked during the fight. Ozunu, on the other hand, ignores Raizo's obvious distress and praises him for completing his assignment. He allows Raizo to keep the watch as a reward, saying, "It will remind you that every moment of your life is a gift I have given you." Then he gives Raizo a final task: kill a female candidate who tried to escape. All Raizo sees is Kiriko. This is the final straw for Raizo. He whips his Kusarigama across Ozunu's face, duplicating the cut that Ozunu gave Kiriko on her cheek and taking out an eye. Ozunu orders the other ninja to kill Raizo, so he ends up having to fight everybody. They overwhelm Raizo when they throw too many shuriken at him at once. He falls off the edge of the skyscraper and plunges into the water below. In the present, Raizo answers Mika's question. He says that he saved her because she can help him get to Ozunu. Mika and Raizo finally stop at a cheap motel somewhere. Raizo tells her to take a shower without soap to make it harder for the ninja to track her scent. They also have to throw out her clothes and other belongings that have her scent on them. Mika then makes a huge mistake. She calls Maslow from a payphone to tell him what's going on and asks him to meet them at their usual spot. Of course, it turns out to be a trap. The minute they get out of the car, a bunch of soldiers take Raizo into custody while Maslow holds Mika back. Even though Maslow is supposedly putting on a show of being the dutiful soldier for the higher-ups, I think he partly turns on Mika because of jealousy. Despite his surly attitude, Maslow still gives Mika a device that she can use to transmit her location if she gets into trouble. He knows that Mika will eventually free Raizo and go on the run from the ninja again. At least this way she'll be able to call for help and not depend solely on Raizo. They allow Mika to visit Raizo in his cell. His wrists, ankles, and neck are chained to the wall. She brings him a bottle of water, which she has to feed him, and apologizes for his predicament. Raizo assures her that he knows she's innocent because he can tell when she's lying from her heartbeat. While they're talking, Raizo picks up the sound of the ninja breaking into the supposedly secret and secure compound. The soldiers don't believe it, but they assure Raizo that they can beat them if they do show up. Mika continues to demand that they release Raizo so he can defend himself. Predictably, the ninjas lay waste to the soldiers in no time flat. Mika grabs a dead soldier's keys and gets to work on Raizo's chains. As she struggles to find the right one, Raizo keeps watch and hilariously urges her to speed things up. He's still partially restrained when the first set of ninja come through the door, but he's still able to kill them all. Raizo knows that they both won't make it to the car, so he tells Mika to go ahead while he stays behind to fight. What follows is one of the biggest bloodbaths I've seen on film. I can't even begin to count how many ninja are in that building. Raizo spends the next 5 minutes or so fighting ninja after ninja. Heads and limbs are flying everywhere as Raizo performs a hectic trapeze act, jumping and swinging from floor to floor. It's so cool. They make it outside the compound, with Takashi and a couple of other ninja pursuing the heavily injured Raizo through actual traffic. They jump over and across cars during the chase, then Raizo comes face to face with Takashi, who mockingly calls him little brother. Takashi claims that he's angry that Raizo abandoned the clan, until they magically run into Mika, who circled back after having to drive off to stop Ninja from attacking her vehicle. She hits Takashi straight on with the car's tail end. He bounces off into the distance, not dead, but definitely worse for wear. Raizo gets into the car, cutely telling Mika that he knew she would find him again. Then he pulls a shuriken out of his horrible stomach wound and begins to heal himself with the technique he learned from Ozunu before passing out. Mika takes Raizo to another cheap motel, tucks him into bed, and takes another soapless shower. Knowing they can't stay there, the ninja will find them no matter where they go. She can't defend herself, let alone protect Raizo from them. If she goes back to the government people, they will take Raizo back into custody, and the ninja will kill him and massacre even more soldiers. The only option left is to activate Maslow's tracker and surrender Raizo to the ninja. She ends the conversation with an apology and a kiss on the cheek. By the time Maslow's crew shows up, she's chilling in a chair and the ninja have already picked up Raizo. Takashi decides to take him back to the compound to face Ozunu. He wants Raizo to have the full humiliation and painful death experience. They lock him in a box. Raizo awakes early in the journey and spends the time healing himself. At the camp, the ninja drag a bound Raizo through the compound's halls to Ozunu's room. Ozunu tries to shame Raizo about his actions. Ozunu gets so enraged that he tells the guards to get that thing out of his sight. The next time we see Raizo, he's tied to a pillar, shirtless, dripping in water, in the courtyard. Ozunu puts on the whole punishment show, preaching to the other ninja in attendance about traitors and all that mess. Raizo keeps mouthing off, which causes Ozunu to shove his hand deeper and deeper into Raizo's stomach like he did when he was growing up. Before they get to the killing portion of the program, a grenade drops out of the sky. The government soldiers have arrived. This time, however, they are packing the heavy artillery, tanks, high-powered rifles, missile launchers, etc. The ninja are literally outgunned as the soldiers blow up everything in sight. Mika runs straight to Raizo and frees him for the second time. As has become their flirty pattern, Raizo jokingly accepts Mika's apology for betraying him again. Then Raizo goes off to take care of his unfinished business, Takashi and Ozunu. Raizo meets Takashi in a burning room. Takashi tries to wear Raizo out by making him fight his flunkies first, a typical loser movie villain tactic. Raizo takes them out easily. Takashi does well on his own until he stupidly taunts Raizo about Kiriko. In response, Raizo wraps his Kusarigama's chain around Takashi's neck while the dagger part embeds in Takashi's palm. Raizo slowly tightens the chain as Takashi tries, and ultimately fails, to stop the dagger's descent into his throat. Then Raizo makes his way to Ozunu's room. Just seeing the trick floor and remembering the abuse his feet suffered because of it pisses him off. He rips a vicious strip out of the floor, destroying it. Another piece of his traumatic past settled. Raizo finds Ozunu sitting at his desk, waiting for him as the rest of the building is ablaze. If you thought Ozunu would be an easy opponent because of his advanced age, you'd be very wrong. I mean, a dude doesn't stay in charge of that many young and skilled ninja for this long through brainwashing alone. He has an edge since he knows all of Reizo's moves. Plus, he's faster than Raizo since he employs a special technique that makes it seem like he's disappearing into thin air. Raizo can't keep up. Ozunu slices and dices him without breaking a sweat. Just as Ozunu's poised to land the killing blow, Mika runs in and fires off a few shots. It's an echo of the fight where she and Raizo first met, only she saves him this time. Ozunu does not like being shot at. He poofs out and reappears behind Mika, stabbing her in the heart. She falls to the ground as Raizo yells out. Raizo was angry before, he's royally pissed now. His rage somehow pushes him to a new power level. He gains Ozunu's poofing ability and starts slashing the older man all over with his sword. Ozunu can no longer keep up. The killing blow comes when Raizo plunges his sword into Ozunu's shoulder and cuts down his entire back. After the fight, Raizo hears a wonderful sound, Mika's heartbeat. He carries her out of the burning building and lays her on the ground. Maslow and the medic are fretting over the wound until Raizo explains that Mika's heart is special. Just like the tattoo artist from the beginning of the movie, her heart is on the wrong side of her chest. Raizo heals her before gently brushing his fingers down her cheek. He steps aside so the medic can further tend to her. Much later, we find Raizo hanging out at the still-smoking compound. He has the broken watch, which he drops to the ground, and a bonsai tree, which he snips the same way Kiriko once did. I think this symbolizes that Raizo is throwing away the life that Ozunu forced on him and embracing the one that Kiriko wanted for him. Thinking of Kiriko, he climbs to the top of the wall and stares out at the beautiful scenery before him. He finally gets to see the gorgeous view that Kiriko once saw. He's free. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.